loud and clear.
How's it going, man?
What's up? Listen, we've been going to do it for quite a while. Would you remind me how long we've been intending to do it? How long it's been since you dropped me the
I
text?
think I messaged you back in December, and then we tried to do it in January.
Wow, 2 months.
Whenever your first post went up, yeah.
Yeah, that's hard to believe. It's been 2 months.
It's been a bit.
Yeah,
I think
for
you were
sure.
going on a little trip or something.
Yep, yeah, lately just returned from the vacation. Finally, we're doing it. So thanks for agreeing it. You see, you're going to be like, if I'm not mistaken, the third Red Hot Chili Peppers person on the channel. And all of you
guys.
guys...
What's the first one?
You did? Really? Yeah.
I did, yeah. And I think
nice.
it was the second one was, is it just audio?
Yeah, just audio because we
I
sort
started
of...
seeing that too.
Yeah, didn't set up the video quality and connection was a bit down. So lovely, great. You see, I vaguely remember your first message. I did not read it prior to recording this episode, but I do remember having the impression that it came off rather well structured and professional. You know, you're taking those shows pretty seriously. And let me say, 13 shows you say? So you claim to have visited
Number 13.
Yeah.
It was this past tour, yeah.
Oh, really? When was it exactly? When was the last one?
Charlotte in June.
In June.
June of this this past June.
Was it already after they had released the Return of Dream Canteen or prior to that?
But they had announced that it was coming.
Nice.
I think they announced it was coming like the show before that one. So they had all the stuff up and everything for it. But yeah, I was hoping. In fact, Tip of My Tongue had been released because I was hoping that they were going to play it.
And did they?
But
on the last one?
Nah.
They didn't. Yeah, that would have been nice, wouldn't it, to have actually the chance to hear some of the stuff from the last one on that show that you visited.
Yeah, I would love to hear him play that whole album, man.
Yeah, for sure. Such a good one. Let me start straight up and pretty directly by hitting you with a question. Which one do you prefer, Unlimited Love or the last one, The Return? If I go crazy to ask such a question.
You know, I really do like them both, but Return of the Dream Canteen.
Yeah, me too. For some reason, mostly people appreciate Unlimited Love. To me, Return is arguably their best one. It's controversial.
It's in my top three.
Yeah,
of all their albums. I really like it. I feel like Unlimited Love is like the album that like the record company wanted them to make, and Dream Canteen is the one that they wanted to make.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sort of.
It's more commercial, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And it was the Unlimited Love to me felt like a little bit of a warm up before the big thing. Although that's not what the fans probably globally thought, because you see all this hype about John returning and Black Summer release, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on over there in Australia right now. Have you seen any of that?
I do know that they have made that they throw in this double show, wasn't it? Right.
Well, the fans were upset because they were playing songs from the new albums.
Oh, really?
And people were like leaving, and they made a big deal
wow,
about it.
leaving.
Yeah.
Fans were
I'm
no
like,
fucking way. Whoa.
Yeah.
Was it like predominantly songs from the new album, like mostly the new stuff?
I mean, the thing is, they only played like 5 or 6.
Oh, really?
So they had a good mixture, but like they were saying it was too many. But it's like, it's been a big thing. I know I've seen it on the Reddit page too.
I saw it on the Reddit, and I saw a couple of headlines on Google News that Chili Peppers made a double show, and people were rather disappointed somehow. And I was thinking,
I don't get it.
Wow,
like in that second show for sure. If you got to see the set list for that one, it was amazing.
Really? Yeah. What stuff are they performing from the latest album? What songs?
Reach Out.
No way. Reach Out. Yeah. Well, I'd like to see
Eddie.
Reach Out live. You know.
Yeah, I know that would be cool. Reach Out, Fake as Fuck, Eddie, Tip of My Tongue.
Yeah.
And I feel like there was another one, but
I feel like I would be living if they didn't perform that, to be honest. You know,
Yeah.
I'd be like, yo, no Reach Out? How privileged should you be to... Was Reach Out performed their first time?
They've only played it twice.
Twice. Wow.
Yeah.
Only twice. Have you seen any
maybe
YouTube...
3 times, but...
Any YouTube lives? Yeah, you have?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, there's been I guess they were on a hiatus for a while, and then when they came back, I think their first show back, they played it.
Oh,
or maybe
that's
it was
nice.
their first or second show back, they played it, yeah.
Uh-huh. Do you think they're going, after they're done with this tour, do you think they're intending to go on some kind of a break afterwards to take things in stride after the tours?
I assume so. It seems like they'll do an album, they do a tour, and then we get like a 3-year break before we get anything else.
Yeah, in a better case.
I hope in that time John makes a solo album.
And he did recently. Have you got into that?
Have you heard it?
Kinda, yeah. You know, I say kinda because I didn't go through maximum 2 songs, right?
See, I'm not his I love John. I think he's amazing, but his electronic stuff is
is not for you for sure. Do you remember?
But if he could put out another album like Shadows, I'd be all over it.
What are the chances, you think?
That's my. I just want. I'm hoping he'll go back to doing some guitar music. I don't know. I don't know if he'll ever do another Shadows, but I love that album.
It comes
really
in waves.
All his solo albums.
Yeah. And what about, were you following his stuff back when he was getting into this Trick Finger thing? Do you remember back when he dropped the Trick Finger album?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't really follow too much of the electronic stuff when he got doing that, but I would always keep kind of an eye on what's going on there. And so I always listened to it, but I didn't pick those up. Yeah. But I mean, I just think everything he touches is just amazing. He's such a talented guy. For sure.
Yeah, I feel like
he's had a big impact on me.
When he dropped the Trick Finger album, I kind of could dig it a little bit because it wasn't yet so experimental and out of the way for me. And this last stuff that he just dropped, I almost arranged a conversation with the second person that I had on the podcast, and he said he will get back to me as soon as he finishes the album, and he never did by far. So obviously he's still probably contemplating, what's up with this album.
Well, so the CD version and the vinyl version are different.
Really?
Because I'd read that he had to make them differently because there were some things that he did on the CD version that wouldn't translate over to the vinyl, like they couldn't actually put it on there. So I actually picked up both of them so I could try them out, but I mean, I'm not getting it. I think it just sounds like noise on my end.
No,
but,
however, do you potentially still accept the possibility that one day you will get deep into it and you become really obsessed with that?
Always. Yeah, like anytime, even if I pick up something, I think to myself, even if I don't like it, I'm like, well, maybe one day down the road I'll get something from it. And that, I don't know if you play any instruments, but as
I'm
a bass
trying.
player,
it's hard to, as I've said previously, hard to find a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan who wouldn't own at least an instrument, right?
Yeah. What you looking to play?
The guitar, electric guitar. I got it a couple of months, and I'm embarrassed to say that the thing is just standing lonely in the corner, and I touch it time to time, but just, I'm trying not to blame myself for not dedicating more time to it.
Have you ever thought about the bass?
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be really nice. I feel like the bass is significantly harder than the guitar, wouldn't you say?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing in the world. Yeah, I've been playing since I was 12. Started taking lessons and stuff. So it's just...
So you're taking lessons, right?
I mean, I don't anymore, but I took them for about maybe 18 years.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, I'm always curious to know how guys kind of kick that off. How they start, where they go about this individual, like a self-educated people, like autodidacts, or with the help of a tutor.
I got a buddy that he played guitar, and when we were around 12, and so I just got a bass because I thought he had the guitar, I should get the bass, and then I ended up just loving it. So I took lessons for a good while, and then played in some bands and stuff.
Oh, really? Yeah. Have you recorded? Have you got into recording some studio stuff?
I do. Yeah, we got some stuff. Like we got an 8-track, so we recorded things on an 8-track. Yeah.
Nice. Probably making a lot of covers.
I mean, this was way back.
Making a lot of covers, I imagine.
Yeah. So some original, some covers. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. In terms of being a bass player, you must love this last couple of albums by the Chili Peppers, because obviously the bass is pretty accentuated, especially back when Josh was in, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Of course, it's like a double-edged sword with his stuff because, it's fun to play, but it's extremely hard. So a lot of it's, it's frustrating when you try to learn and you can't get it every time. But I do love it though. So.
What would you say is the easiest Chili Peppers song to play on bass?
"Suck My Kiss."
Yeah, you think that's pretty easy, huh?
Yeah, it's not too tough. That was probably one of the first ones I learned, so I think so, probably with that.
Yeah, that's good. And what about this stuff from I'm With You?
I love Monarchy, Factory of Faith, and Ethiopia, like the ones they start out with the bass. I love those songs. Any of the songs that they have where they start out with bass, those are like the first ones I love. I'll get on those and I'll learn them immediately. She's a Lover, that's the last thing I think I learned.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. It could have been the title of the album. You probably know it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, could have been the title. Interesting. Now, so when I'm With You came out, I would imagine you were not disappointed like majority of fans were.
Not with I'm With You.
Yeah.
I was disappointed that John left, but I always thought Josh was amazing. I liked Josh before he was even in the band.
Really? Wow. You knew him before?
Yeah, because he was in. Yeah, and the first time I saw the Peppers, for the very first time, Bicycle Thief opened up for them, and he played in it. So I kind of knew him. He was in another band called Golden Shoulders. He did some stuff with them. They were really good. And then, of course, I knew him from playing with John and recording solo stuff. So I really liked I'm With You. But the Getaway...
Wow, interesting.
I see on that page, man, everybody loves the Getaway on that Reddit page. But it's, for me, like, it just... And I think it's because they didn't have Rick Rubin producing.
Yeah, who was the guy? Mickey Mouse?
Danger Mouse.
Oh, Danger
Yeah,
Mouse.
Danger Mouse. Yeah, from Gnarls Barkley. Yeah, that guy.
Okay, and did you perhaps have a luck to witness Josh on the Stadium Arcadium tour back when he was kind of a supportive guitar? Yeah.
I've been to every tour since Californication.
You know what's my dream? I would have loved to hear and see them perform. What was that track of Californication? I think it's Velvet Glove.
This Velvet Glove?
Yeah, this Velvet Glove.
Amazing. I've never got to see him play that one either.
Oh, yeah, I would have loved it. Velvet Glove, or that was, Please Don't Turn Away Again. What is that one from Stadium Arcadium? You know what I'm talking about, right?
I do.
Turn it again, or something like that. Yeah, Please Don't Turn Away, my friend. Because I remember there was this legendary live on YouTube where John kind of allowed Josh to go big on the chorus, I think, and everybody seemed kind of surprised from the guys how Josh performed well,
I love that tour. I saw the By the Way tour was really good, and the Stadium Arcadium tour, those are really good. And Josh, of course, was playing with them on Stadium. So the thing I like about Josh is, like, I feel like they play like a wider range of stuff. That's one thing I don't understand, why they don't play some of these songs.
Do you think it's really about John? Do you think
I don't know if it's John or not. I mean, I get it, maybe. I think Josh was a fan like a big fan, and so I think that's part of the reason why he wanted to, like, I think it was him saying, hey, let's play this song. And that's why they played, Dosed those couple times, or Sick of Nigga Nico when they played that, things like that. So that's one thing I do like about Josh. But I hope him and John can be friends
So it's
again.
pretty interesting and appears to be even kind of mysterious how John obviously refuses to perform anything that was recorded back when Josh. And it's a big pity, because I would love to hear some of the stuff from I'm With You, and even the Getaway. Yeah.
In One Hot Minute too.
Yeah, no chances for them to perform shit from One Hot Minute, right? Totally impossible. Wow.
Yeah, P is it.
That's it.
Flea, and it's just Flea, See, when Josh was with them, they would play Aeroplane.
Yes. So Josh had no problem. So, and by the way, huge respect to Josh for learning stuff from John. Like Snow, people say, even people who play the guitar well say it's hard, really hard.
Right, that's what I hear too. I got a buddy of mine that he is obsessed with John too. So he learns. He's like one of the greatest guitar players I've ever seen.
Really?
Like, he's just amazing.
Is he good with Snow?
He's good with anything John can do. Like, he makes that's all he focuses on and doing with John.
Do you guys jam together? I imagine you do.
We do. Yeah. And we've known each other since we were 3 years old. So he's the one that I played. Yeah, we played together throughout our whole life. So
it's crazy to imagine how many people got inspired because of the band, and how many people's lives been changed because of what impact the guys have made on the world. It's pretty crazy. So take me all the way back to your first introduction to the Chili Peppers. Now you're 18, you visit your first concert, right? How was your prior introduction to that? How did it happen before?
I'm gonna make myself sound old here. My first, like, when I really got hooked was when One Hot Minute came out, and with Airplane.
94.
I was getting it. Yeah, I was in middle school. And I was starting to get into grunge and Nirvana and Smashing Pumpkins and all those bands. And then, I think Aeroplane came out as a single, and I saw the video, and I was just hooked. I remember I had a One Hot Minute shirt. And so, I listened to them, but, and of course I knew Under the Bridge and Give It Away, because those were big. But then when Californication came out, I remember seeing reading magazines that said John Frusciante's back, and I didn't really even know anything about him at the time. And so I got Californication, and that was it. I was hooked. Went saw him. In fact, I saw him on my first show was actually on my 18th birthday.
And that was the Californication tour?
It was, Foo Fighters opened.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Nice. You must have seen quite a bunch, also legendary band open for them, haven't you? Right?
I've been quite a few. Going to shows is my favorite thing, man. So I'll go see anybody I have to see.
So now you are 18, and was it your first big gig that you attended at that point?
I had seen No Doubt and Matchbox 20. They were, like 2 years before or something. But yeah, this was like going to a show with my friends and without my parents, and this was my first big show like that. Yeah, and like I said, it was on my 18th birthday, so it was really.
Did you have a good spot on the stadium or the arena?
Well, that one was one of those where you could, back in the day, you could get on the floor, and I mean, you could get as close as you wanted to get. And of course, there was a ton of people. And I remember I've never been so hot and sweaty in my life, but being right down there in the middle of the
I always like asking people who've been to a bunch of shows if they had to wait for a long time before they actually get to see the Peppers. Because when I saw them first and only time, bro, I had to be standing on my feet. You probably heard in the first episode for like good 12 hours before they came on stage.
Oh, wow. Like before you even got in?
No, before they got on stage. From the time when the stadium go open, they allowed us in, and then two bands opened for them, and then finally in the evening when they came on, I had been standing for good 10 hours, totally dehydrated, so I don't know what to do. I mean, it was a trip. It was surreal,
Usually I feel like, have you ever, there's a website, it's called setlist.fm. It'll tell you at the top, like from the time the gate opens until the show.
So it tells you the time.
Like 5 or 6 hours.
And what do you think about it? Shouldn't the organization be a bit different about it?
As far as
I don't know, doing it a bit quicker, letting fans suffer less.
Yeah, well, and I think they've tried to make it to where they have to. I know here, all shows have to be finished by midnight. Have to. So that kind of forces them to go back on earlier than they normally would. So they end up going on stage here at like 8:30.
Yeah.
So not too bad.
Right. Yeah, that's fine.
I think ticket prices are crazy high.
A lot of people. I've heard complaints. Yeah, I've heard complaints. Some people though do not complain. They say that it's still like one time in life opportunity. So why wouldn't you pray?
It's just, but like that show I went to in June. You could get like tickets that were maybe $100, but they were way back. If you wanted to sit up front and have a decent seat, it was like $800.
Really?
And that's a lot for two people.
Yeah. 800. Even here in Ukraine, I understand that's kind of on the high end, on the high spectrum a little bit. Interesting. And what about those sitting spots? Did people go for sitting spots a lot?
Yeah, well, of course, like what they're doing those stadium tours now, so like it's mostly seats unless you get down on the front. But where I went in Charlotte, they had, even on the floor, they had seats. So
really?
I kind of like it now, having a seat.
You do. Yeah.
Because at least you got your spot and you got some room.
And you do need to kind of sit down a little bit sometimes. Like, you're not most powerful, I imagine, right? You gotta be realistic about your abilities, right? Because it's quite a workout going to a concert, right? Absolutely. Quite a workout. Were you allowed any drink on this last shows?
They let you bring water.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Because it was so, like, of course it was during the summer and it was so hot here. So they let everybody bring in one bottle of water.
Oh, that's nice. You got to be economical about it, right? Really frugal with that bottle of water. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so then you go to your first show, you get totally hooked, and how do you follow the band afterwards? Back in the era where internet wasn't around, you were probably, it's just a word of mouth, right? Just spreading the rumors.
Well, internet had started to kind of, right around, it was all kind of like happening at the same time. And so, like LimeWire, I don't know if you know what LimeWire is.
What's that?
Let's see, what was the other? Napster.
Nope.
So like basically it was, you would go on you would download this program to your computer and everybody would upload songs, video. I mean, it was just kind of like, it was illegally downloading them. Yeah. But what was cool about that is you could find a lot of live stuff at the time that live things, B-sides and rare, Nice. So I would be constantly I was burning CDs nonstop, just anything rare stuff, live stuff, everything, concerts. And so I did that for a good while. And then when By the Way got ready to come out, I remember getting excited about it. And I saw him twice on that tour. And we actually flew to Europe to see him.
Yeah. Where was that exactly?
Tour. At the Manchester Arena. And what was cool is they played Warm Tape.
Ooh.
I think that might be one of the only times. Yeah. So John had his piano out there and he was playing that and the guitar at the same time.
Crazy.
So cool.
Crazy. Yeah. That guy is one-man band. For real.
Awesome.
One man band.
Yeah,
you don't need anybody else. You bring one guy on stage, he can perform for 4 of them.
He really is, man. I think, I don't know, he's something special for sure.
I don't know what's up with him. I don't know what's the secret behind him. Maybe it's, you see all those guys, you probably have heard, who was that? Rick Rubin. I come up on my podcast about that episode quite a while, but Rick Rubin said, I think it was him on Joe Rogan, he said that they all seem to have got some kind of traumatic, no, it must have been Kiedis. Did you listen to Anthony Kiedis on Rogan?
I did.
Yeah. Do you remember the moment when he was saying that they all had totally a complete fascination what they were doing in childhood? Like at one point, there was nothing they did. It's the case with Flea, the case with John. So let me ask you, do you think that's the way to go if you mean to become really legendary? Because you can be, well, you can be good, right? But you can be on a totally different level. Do you think that's the only way to go full in to, you know, sacrifice everything you've got and just concentrate on the guitar? Or do you think it's about balancing?
I think you're born with that talent as well, but I think you need to have it nurtured. Yeah. You know, like especially for like small kids and children and whatnot, when they're like 1, 2, 3, if they're soaking that, you know, they learn so much faster, and you can like teach, you know, children that age different languages and things like that. So I feel like if you start them that young, and they get into playing whatever it is you've got for them, drums or guitar, like I feel like that really locks it in early, and then you just got to keep making sure, you know, as long as they practice. And I think they have to have a love for it. I think if you want them to do it and they don't want to do it, it's not going to work.
And what about us adults? Do you think if anybody wants to get into something pretty serious, do you think they have to sort of sacrifice and go a little bit crazy about it? Or is the key, in your opinion, to balance stuff out? Like, what's the story with you and the guitar?
I think when you get older, I guess, obviously, I think your chances of being a, you know, huge superstar are probably not as great as they are as when you're younger. Because I think it's harder for you to pick that up and learn. But my dad, who just retired, always wanted to play the banjo, so he picked one up, and he's been learning. And I mean, he is really, he's taken off on it. So I don't think it's ever too late. But I do think I think when you're older, balance is what's more important.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. It's because I feel like it's kind of I would always give this comparison to learning a language. It's kind of easier to learn a foreign language when you're in your teens, when you're a child, because I feel like it's mostly due to the fact that you have not used your native language for too long and you're not too connected. And it's easier for you to break the pattern. While when you start and when you're 40, you've been doing this for 40 years, good luck, you know, breaking up with your native language after that.
Yeah, it makes it a lot harder to learn, for sure.
Interesting. Okay, so you, at that point, you start exchanging some material, some live records, right? Something rare on these first forums. And then you go to England. How would you compare the English shows versus those first you saw previously?
That English show, well, of course I had seen them the one time before. And so my love for that band had only grown. Like just more, and I was so excited for it. And my dad he actually surprised me and my brother and my sister with a trip to Manchester to see him play. And we actually got over there and he forgot the tickets.
No way. No.
Oh yeah. So ended up he
it's not like going to another village and forgetting something, right?
Yeah. So we're all the way across the pond. So he and not just that, but so we landed in London and we were having to fly to Manchester. So we had to buy the Manchester tickets again, the plane tickets and the show tickets. But we did. And so we got there, and that, like I said, that was one of the most amazing shows I've ever seen. The Mars Volta opened. And then, like I said, they played just an awesome set. And of course they played Warm Tape. I was so excited for it. Yeah. Venice Queen played some really good songs on that one.
Don't Forget Me, I imagine.
Yeah, they do that one live, man. It's fantastic.
Yeah, man. I don't remember. You see, when something truly unfathomable happens to you, your brain tends to somehow erase the memories a little bit, whether it's good or bad. Right. And I don't exactly remember the full set list back in the Kiev concert that I visited in 2016. I don't remember if they performed Don't Forget Me, but would have been a pleasure. Kiev, yeah, that was the capital. Yeah. 2016, that was the Getaway Tour. I think it was one of the first early dates of 2016 of the Getaway Tour. Yeah, it was 2016.
Was it July?
Yeah, June, July, something like that, I imagine.
New Park?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, yeah. So you got Can't Stop, Danny California, Scar Tissue, Dark Necessities, Nobody Weird Like Me, Other Side, Look Around, Getaway, Suck My Kiss, Go Robot, Californication, Under the Bridge, Detroit, By the Way, Soul to Squeeze, and then Give It Away.
pretty standard, wouldn't you say?
Not bad,
right?
yeah.
It's not bad,
good.
but there's nothing outstanding in the set list, right? Nothing.
What's the one song you'd love to hear him play?
Oh, now, probably, man, you know what's really important? You will probably not appreciate that answer. I've been binging My Cigarette from the last album a lot. Yeah.
My Cigarette is one of my favorites off of that record, man. Every time it comes on, I'm just like so pumped for it. I love it.
It's dramatic and it's funky at the same time, and I don't have no idea what that song is about. Yeah, but it's just something pretty cool. Oh, I would have loved Reach Out. Reach Out might be my favorite one of the last record. And about previous records, you know, I love Other Side, and I love the fact that they performed it well, often enough, you know, Other Side. But other than materials like that, must have been something of B-sides. You know, they do not perform B-sides very often.
I would love for them to play some B-sides. Yeah, for sure. They've got some killer B-sides.
Eskimo. What about that one?
Yeah,
you know that one.
Good.
Oh man,
yeah.
No chance of them performing that shit ever, probably. Right?
No,
they don't even know about that song.
I can't imagine. Like, I don't know how some of those B-sides ended up as B-sides. Like, especially the ones from By the Way and Stadium Arcadium. Those B-sides are amazing. The Bicycle Song, and Quixotic Elixir, and all those.
Fat Dance. Oh, that's Californication, probably. Right?
Yeah,
that's closer to Californication. Man, yeah, some of those B. And what about I'm With You B-sides? That's like a whole album.
It is. That's actually, like, as far as the vinyl goes, it's the only vinyl I don't have of theirs. I've got every other one, but it's like $500 if you can find it. So, yeah, it's expensive.
So you got all the vinyls of all the studio albums.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's nice.
I got out in LA, quite a couple different ones.
Wow. When did you got out in LA? Was it a long time ago you got the vinyl?
It was in the last year. Like, I've been tracking them down, so it took me a while to find that one, but I did.
Really? So it's relatively hard to find the first album.
It is, yeah. I think I had to order it from. I think it came from somewhere over in Europe.
Yeah,
I'm not sure where.
How much did you pay for that?
$60, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Something like that.
So I don't own the vinyl player. Tell me simplistically. Talk to me like to a dummy. You know, is there a big difference between the vinyl play in terms of quality and like a simple whatever player of your stereos on the computer?
Well, I think especially with versus like MP3s or Spotify or something, you know, it's compressed so much when they put it on those streaming services and stuff. Vinyl sound, there's nothing that sounds better to me. I do like listening to music with headphones on though, especially like John's solo stuff, because there's so much going on, like with his back vocals and different guitars, and you can hear them really well when you put headphones on. So I do always like to do that.
Have you heard some of those tapes of some stadium tour records when the sound was extracted from John's microphone, when it's only him?
Oh yeah, I've seen those on YouTube.
Yeah, there's like a whole concert when the sound was captured from John's microphone or whatever, you know, the soundboard, something like that, and it's just so awesome to hear only his back vocals on those tracks.
Right. Yeah, people put a lot of, like, they'll take the tracks from the albums and just make it where he's the only one. Yeah, and they do it. You can hear those on YouTube. They're pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Stadium Arcadium. Do you think is rightly that people call this album mostly John's album, that this whole album is mostly John's achievement?
Stadium Arcadium?
Yep, yeah.
I can see that, yeah. I think he had a big influence on By the Way as well.
Yeah.
Because it went softer. And I remember reading an article, I guess they caught a bunch of crap about By the Way being like too soft and not funky enough. Yeah. So that's why they did Stadium Arcadium.
They did. Okay. Yeah, Stadium came off a little bit harder compared to By the Way, for sure.
Funkier, for sure.
Yeah, and double album. How lucky are we to have currently almost a double album, right? Because this last
I know. I'm hoping they end up saying, "Hey, guess what? We got one more."
Yeah, you know, I would not be surprised, honestly. You know, they can surprise.
It would be great. Yeah.
How many more albums? Let me ask you a bit of a set question. How many more do we have on the way?
Realistically, I think two. Maybe two.
Yeah, 2 would be good. You know, I would take 2.
I hope. Yeah. I hope at least 2.
2 would be good.
I mean, the Rolling Stones, though. I mean, they're still doing it. For
sure.
So I mean, why not the Peppers? Sure. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've asked this question previously, but do you agree that when it comes to longevity of the band, things mostly depend on the drummer?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's weird with that band too, because I always try to think like how it would be if one of them wasn't there anymore, like if something happened to one of them. And I mean, they could replace. I don't think they could ever replace Anthony. I I don't know. I don't know if anybody. I don't know if any of them could be replaced. You know what I mean? Like if you take, and I mean, of course, John's, but maybe, but I don't think so. I don't know if you could take out Chad or.
Yeah, don't you think though? Historically, it's like every single member at some point was replaced, at least briefly. Even don't you remember? Even Anthony was replaced for one show, or something
yeah,
like that.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, because he was too high to play. Yeah, and so he got replaced for one. I don't know about Chad. I feel like Chad. I think since he's joined, I think he's been.
Yeah,
consistent.
ever since he did,
yeah.
I think he's not been replaced, and he seems to be rocking. Right, seems to be doing fine.
Yeah. I saw a video. I guess they're in Australia, and after their show, he went to some bar, and there was a band playing, and he got on stage and played drums with them. For the night.
Yeah.
How cool would that be?
Oh yeah, some bunch of young dudes, right?
We're playing AC/DC covers.
Oh really? Nice. And our boy joined, right? He jumped along. That's nice. That's nice. Now let me ask you a hard question. So what makes them what they are in your opinion? Because obviously, considering that plenty members have been replaced, plenty styles or sub-styles have been tested, right? Fans are still following and people still love them. So what is this thing behind Chili Peppers' chemistry? What makes them appealing to people?
I think they just have a way to, I think they talk to everybody. I think they speak to all ages, all groups. Male, female, I think they just have a way of touching somebody. And when the four of those guys get together, there's nothing like it. And I think that they could make any type of music and it would be amazing. They could do reggae and they could do, folk or R&B, whatever it is. I think if they did it together, I think they could do it. And I think that I think it would be fantastic. They don't seem to miss.
Do you appreciate the fact that they don't have no features most of the times, no another artist included in the songs?
I do. Yeah. There's a song, it's by Tricky. It's called Wonder Woman. And it's him, and he had John and Flea play on it with him. It's really good. I might send it to you if you want to hear it. Fantastic song. Yeah. But yeah, I like the fact that they don't feature other artists. They don't need it. I've seen them do things on other people's stuff, but I don't think they need it for theirs.
Yeah, some of the members, not all of them, right? That would be crazy to hear a rock band featuring the whole Chili Peppers crew, right?
That's the thing. I don't think I've ever seen Kiedis do something with anybody else.
No, that's crazy.
I know Flea's played with a couple, Chad and John, but not Kiedis.
So what does it speak about anything to you, the fact that Anthony's been kind of loyal to only this thing? Does it tell you anything?
Feel like, it does. But I also think that, his voice is so distinct that, like, if he goes and plays with another band, it's going to sound like the Chili Peppers without the rest of it, right? So, like, maybe that's part of the reason why. Because the other guys can just jump right in with another band and play. So
for sure. Anthony seems to be a bit limited with his power, let's say, right? Whatever he's bringing into the song.
But I think he's at his peak right now.
Oh yeah, I believe so.
I thought he really is like the best I feel like he's ever sung and
crazy
and everything.
Voice sounding amazing, lyrically fantastic. As I said, my first review on Reddit of the last album was I accentuated the fact that his vocal is like a separate instrument on the album. The thing he's doing, it's like another guitar or bass line. Or drums, right? Yeah,
he really it just seems like he's trying new things, different vocal inflections and harmonies and just rhythms and he really seemed like he stepped it up. Like when I heard Dream Canteen, was my first thought was like, wow, Anthony's probably the best he's ever been.
So, do you know anything about the fact how they actually? What's the process about the album record? Because I'm not big in that, I don't know anything, but obviously they improve the quality, they use the auto-tune. Now, so my question is, have you ever for a fraction of a second been a bit disappointed with how Anthony sounded live compared to the audio records? That's exactly was the case with me. When I got into the stuff, I heard I heard the studio stuff, and then first time me on YouTube punching Red Hot Chili Peppers, I heard them say, shit, is that really how he sounds? Yeah.
So, what was the song? Do you remember? That you watched on YouTube?
No, pretty much anything. You know why? Because I think it would be fair assessment to say that sometimes Anthony was not at his best.
Not on his key, not on key. Yeah, for sure.
Totally. Even some latest tours, like what was that? The Getaway. There were a lot of concerts of the Getaway when he was like, talking in his nose or whatever was happening.
There's a few videos on YouTube where he definitely sounds off key. There's a video where they played in Seattle for some music Hall of Fame thing or whatever, and they played Right on Time, and they just had the socks on. and he sounds awful.
Really?
Like his voice, it's bad. It's pretty bad. Yeah. He's definitely off key, but
it feels like he doesn't.
On,
he can't be perfect. I would not want Anthony to sound perfect. I want him to mess up a couple of times.
I think he does. Yeah, he does it for me. So
yeah, mess up the lyrics. Like there's no concert where he wouldn't mess up the lyric of any song.
Well, now, I know, because now he's got the teleprompter.
Oh, I feel like it's not just now. Didn't he have it for a while though? Yeah.
He might, if he did, now I actually notice it, but I didn't notice it.
Okay. I remember the song that was played with Josh of the Stadium Tour. It's So Much High. You know this one, right? So Much High of Stadium Arcadium. Man, it's a good one. It was the song when I saw on the live. There was one concert. Must have been somewhere in Europe, maybe Poland, when they let Josh do the job in the chorus or something, and everybody was just surprised. You know,
That's
so
awesome.
much. It's
just
so
beautiful.
beautiful.
To see that one live. I'd love to.
I feel like you would have really loved to see the Slane Castle in Ireland, right?
Oh, yeah, I love that DVD. Yeah, I watch that all the time. That's a great show. I love when John does his solo, like we'll hear do like a little solo song. And on that concert, I love that one he does. I think it's really good.
Yeah, so you never felt nothing in terms of this sort of discrepancy between the studio quality versus the live quality in terms of Anthony's contribution. It never disappointed you.
It never disappointed me, but like sometimes I'm like, man, what are you doing? But overall, I just try to sing with it and go with it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And concert is a different animal, right? It's a different.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially if you're there. You just get soaked into it. Such a good experience.
Crazy how they still manage to rock. But also they're not. I mean, they're relatively older, right? But there are guys who.
Yeah, but I mean, Flea's 60, and every show he does a handstand and walks out onto the stage like that. It's insane. That's crazy. I hope I can do that when I'm 60.
Yeah, for sure. Did he interact with the audience on your last show?
He does. He talks a lot. Kiedis didn't talk as much as. I mean, he does, but he didn't talk as much. Flea talked a lot. In fact, he invited everybody to this bar that was in town afterwards. And like everybody went, and of course they weren't there, so it was like a big thing for the next day. Nobody, they didn't show up. But yeah, he does. John doesn't really say much.
Never, right? It's hard to hear John throw in. I think you would consider Flea actually being the leader. If we need to label those guys, so Flea would probably be.
He definitely is the most talkative, out of all of them. Like he seems to, especially now. It used to be him and Kiedis, but it seems like Flea.
I always loved when they had this little almost scenes, when they had to conversate, Flea and Anthony, they would talk together.
Yeah, they go back and forth.
That was like this little preface to any song. That would be cool. That would be cool. Now, so out of those 13 shows you've seen, what was the worst, the most disappointing to you? Any really bad experience?
I mean, I'm honestly, like, I never had a bad time. The Getaway tour, like I said, because I wasn't into that album as much. I didn't mind Dark Necessities. That's a decent song. Go Robot, and I like The Getaway, but the rest of it just don't do it for me. So that, maybe probably. But I did like, I don't know if you've heard of Baby Metal, but it's like these three Japanese girls. Like they opened. I'd never heard of them.
Wasn't it something that Flea posted on Instagram? How he
I think so, and I mean it was an amazing. Like it was awesome. So that was cool. But as far as that show, like I said, I wasn't disappointed, but the set list, I guess, could have been better. In my, I could have.
Isn't it a beautiful moment how you still in 21st century you discover new music stuff live on the concert? So you discover this Japanese band, you said, right? And it was live. It was not via the internet. I would cherish moments like that.
I was like, who is who's Baby Metal? And then they can't, and it's like it's not just the music too. Like they have a really cool stage show. It's a cool thing. If you ever get a chance, I definitely recommend it.
That's how I discovered the Kills. Maybe you've heard about the Kills. Yeah, these two people, pretty amazing. They opened for Peppers and Nothing But Thieves. I think this is an English band. Yeah, it's exactly how I discovered it. Let me ask you a little bit about the music in general these days. Do you appreciate the fact that music is in abundance these days and we've got this instant access to anything and everybody? Or would you prefer the old days where you would cherish a band much more because it was the only thing you got on your plate? So whether you liked it or not, you got to go for it, right?
That's true. I like the fact that it is accessible, but I also think that opens it up to it. You know what I mean? As much great stuff as there is, there's going to be a lot of garbage. So I think in that regard, I think that's it. I think it makes it something that means people that normally wouldn't have the opportunity to have that stage to show what they can do, can do it and put it out there for everybody to see. So I think that that's really cool. I don't think rock music, I personally, the way it's going now, it's just.
Yeah, what's up with the rock, do you think?
I don't know. Just the newer bands that are, I don't even know if I would say it's I guess it's hard for me to explain without kind of telling you some of the bands that I'm referring to. Like Five Finger Death Punch and stuff like that. I'm just not. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Isn't it like some hardcore metal or something like that?
Yeah, and that's like all that. It seems like that's all that they play on rock stations over here now. You don't get,
So would you say that appears to be the rock genre appears to be too like primitive these days, or too similar to each other, too copy pasting, something like that?
I think it's similar to each other. It seems like everybody sounds the same. Yeah.
Which you definitely can't tell about the Peppers, right?
Right.
No
yeah,
way.
and that's exactly, absolutely.
Crazy how some people manage to blame. I've had the chance to hear some criticism when songs sound similar. I mean that's just impossible. I feel like every song is like a different planet.
Danny California. Oh, the Tom Petty song. I still don't really hear it, but I mean I get it. But but I don't. That was not the first thing I thought when I heard that song.
Oh, but they do sound pretty similar.
Yeah.
I was referring. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just. Some people say the Chili Peppers songs are similar to one another. Like, sometimes. Have you ever had any criticism of Chili Peppers from an outside person? Yeah. What would that be typically?
Same like what you just said. That all their songs sound the same, but I don't see it that way. But maybe, and I don't know why I don't. And I think it may be just because I'm a big fan of theirs. I know so much of their stuff that I can see. I don't know. I don't see it that way, but maybe I'm biased.
Well, the same instruments, I guess, the same people. How different can it be on overall, right? Yeah, but what would be anything else? How you would hear other people criticize Peppers for anything else, or rather just similarity of the songs? Was there anything else you ever heard?
Honestly, like. Most of the people that I've heard criticize them have only heard their radio stuff, and they think they're overplayed, or really? And some of those songs, maybe they are. I don't know, but I think anybody that's really sat down and listened to them, I think you can. Like how can you criticize that?
How played are they on the radio station in the States? How likely are you to? Pretty likely.
I mean, yeah, you could if you turn the radio on, you'd hear them.
Wow, that's nice.
For sure.
Nice. What's that radio station? What is it? Sirius FM?
Sirius XM. Yeah. Yeah, they have a whole channel that's just Red Hot.
Wow, really? Yeah. That's what I would be playing in my car.
And it's literally like, it's just Red Hot Chili Peppers or John stuff. Anything that's related to them, yeah.
That's crazy. That's perfect station, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's nice.
You can't get it on your. Can you get it on your computer?
Yeah, I believe so. It's been a while since I turned on the radio. It's been a while. I feel like I miss those days a little bit. Back there are still some motherfuckers who rock the radio in my area. Still talk to some people that are like, yeah, I'm a radio station. You see, there's the kind of people that usually go for club stuff. Some club music.
I got you.
They always rock some club shit. That's where I would put my criticisms, where every track is the same. I cannot distinguish the difference between DJ Fuckface or whatever.
The electronic stuff, I just don't get it.
It's interesting what drives John into that area. Like, it's such a contrast.
That too. His wife is.
You think?
Into it, yeah.
She's a singer.
Yeah. She's a DJ.
She's a DJ. And what was that song from Unlimited Love that she was on? Not the One, right?
Yes.
I think she was on Not the One. Yeah, which is barely listenable. You can barely hear her back vocal, but I think she's there. Huh. What was your opinion on Not the Way? People gave it a little bit of shit, I remember, when it came out.
I mean, I like that was. I remember they released that one before the album came out. And I liked. I mean, like I said, they all took some growing. It took me like 2 or 3 listens, and then it's like something.
That's always the case, right? Has it ever been when you would hear a song on the first listen and you go like, "That's it" on the first time? Has it ever been like that with Peppers?
Around the World, yeah. The first time I heard, and Scar Tissue. The first time I heard those, I was like, "Wow, these are." Yeah. And
how did you hear those tracks first? On the radio?
Scar Tissue was on the radio. Around the World, I saw the video. They were like premiering the video on MTV.
Yeah, crazy. What's the video of Around the World? I can barely remember that.
It's just there's a lot of crazy colors, and then he's like sitting down with like a genie type thing, and moving his hands and doing that.
Sort of like Airplane, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good one.
Okay. Yeah, I vividly remember Scar Tissue. It's hard to forget that video. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a great video.
Yeah, when John is driving illegally, that's what people point out.
Yeah.
Right. He doesn't have the license. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So yeah, that's interesting. And now, what is this thing? Has it become for you now almost like a hobby, a tradition to visit every concert, or at least to try to visit every concert, or
every show? 100%. Yeah, I'm never gonna miss this show. Anytime they come around, I'm going.
Really?
And usually I try to see them twice, because they'll normally close enough to where I can go to 2 shows within a day or 2 apart. So I try to do it that way. But yeah, anytime, especially if John's with them. But even if he's not, I'll see him forever. Forever. Yep.
Are you intending on visiting another show any near time?
Of the band?
Yeah.
At the moment, there's not really. My girlfriend wants to see Beyonce, but
there's a bit of a contrast.
Yeah, very big.
Are you going with her?
Tickets are crazy expensive. For
Really?
that,
How much
so
is
expensive. They're like the cheap seats are like $800.
Holy shit! Which are the expensive ones for Peppers, right?
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't. There's not really anybody around here at the moment. That's Rage Against the Machine just came. I would have liked to have seen them, but they were just a little bit too far away. But
other than Peppers, who's been the biggest that you've also witnessed live?
I've seen Bob Dylan a couple times.
Oh, really?
Seen the Black Crowes a couple times. Foo Fighters, Marilyn Manson.
Nice.
Seen him a couple times.
Yeah. Interesting.
Pretty much. Yeah, I love any type of music from.
Yeah.
Are
you
R&B,
into rap?
bluegrass.
Anyhow?
I like. Well, now when I say I know rap music, I like 90s and early 2000s rap.
Not the modern rap, not some
Dre
mumble rap. Right,
I
not
don't
that
care.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. Interesting.
Makes me sound old, but-
Who would you want to watch from the rap scene live from the 90s to 2000? Who would you want to see live on stage?
So there was back in the day they had an Up in Smoke tour, and it was Dr. Dre, Snoop, Eminem, DMX, like those guys. Method Man, Redman, Wu-Tang. I'd go see any of those.
See,
guys.
the beauty is that good half of those guys are still around, and they're still making stuff.
Yeah, I've seen Snoop 2 or 3 times.
You have?
So,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he opened for the Peppers. That's when I saw him.
Wow. Yeah. Was it Californication, by the way?
By the way, tour.
That's crazy, That's great. Imagine seeing the news on Reddit right now that the next concert is going to be including Snoop open for them in 2023.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
I just don't imagine Snoop doing, what's he gonna rap before Chili Peppers? It's kind of hard to believe, right?
So I think that year they did a Billboard Awards show, and he came out and performed with them while they played. And so I'm guessing that's how they kind of hooked up. But the tour, it was good. But he came out and did his thing, and then they came on.
Scar Tissue, wasn't it? Some kind of mix like common performance of Scar Tissue.
It was Scar Tissue, yeah.
Man, I gotta rewatch that video because to me right now it seems so interesting. Like what contribution Snoop would even put in Scar Tissue. It's hard. It's hard
he
to.
rapped over it. It was cool. They go into that Red Hot Mama jam, and that's he raps over that.
Okay. Post Malone one. You seen a couple of years before the common performance with Post Malone.
Man, I like Post Malone.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, he's different.
Yeah.
I've been worried about Posty lately. I think day before yesterday I saw a video of him performing a song live, and he just did not look healthy. Yeah, I might be wrong, but I don't know.
A show one time, I think it was during the whole COVID thing, but he did a show where he did Nirvana songs.
Oh yeah,
he killed it. It was awesome. Yeah, and you can actually find that online because I think he streamed it for everybody. It was really good, really, really good.
That's partly how I feel he became famous. He was doing that SoundCloud stuff. It's crazy how a lot of people become famous overnight, so-called, right, with the help of SoundCloud. Yeah. Would that be your intention, at least partly, to one day become famous over SoundCloud or something like that?
I would love that. Realistically, but I think that would be fantastic. Like that would be cool, and I think it would just be cool, honestly, to put something out just for somebody to be like, "Hey, I thought that was really good," even if one person liked it, I think
For sure,
cool.
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I think that's really the secret to do whatever. I mean, it sounds super cliche and trivial, but that's what it is, to just do whatever you want, whatever you like. And if you think about Rogan recently, that's the phrase that strikes me. He said how first 6 years of his podcast, whether you believe him big or not, because, you know, people tend to have different stances on Rogan. He's a bit of controversial, right? But he said how first 6 years his podcast not only did it not pay, it actually took some money from him. So he had to invest money in it. And that's crazy
now
to
he's
think.
killing it.
Yeah, he's killing it right now. But then imagine doing shit for 6 years, getting zero pay. You know, who would go to that work for 6 years for nothing?
Yeah, I know. At what point do you give up?
So
But I guess he had money to fall back on.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So what's your occupation right now, if you don't mind me asking? What do you do professionally?
I'm a unit director over a school system here. So I manage all the custodial departments for the school district here in my state. Yeah.
And have you ever wanted or thought about connecting yourself professionally with music to make living off of music?
I would, yeah. I mean, since I was 12 years old, that's all I've ever wanted to do.
Really?
Yeah.
And so what, the opportunity just never rolled, or what would you say?
You know, when I was of course, when I was younger, like that was what I wanted when I was a teenager. And then when I started to get 18, you know, I would play with some friends and we would play out and play shows and things like that. And that was, you know, it's fun. And I got to do that. But then I ended up going to school and I moved, you know, I moved away, a couple states away, and lived in a different city for a while. And, you know, everybody just kind of takes their own different path. And so, but we found our way, you know, now that I'm back where I grew up, and those guys are back here, we've started playing together.
Yeah, and are you planning on going live, doing a little local tour or something?
Oh,
like that?
absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Have you started already, or are you just planning?
Just started. Well, we just started playing together again.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. That's nice. So in the nearest future, you do see yourself doing some local clubs or something like that?
I would love to, for sure.
For sure. You know, if I could play an instrument, well, damn, if my voice sounded like people don't want to commit suicide, I would definitely join a band, you know?
Nah, your voice ain't bad.
Ah, man, you know, probably on the same level with the worst Kiddis show, you know. So Kiddis at his worst. Do you have any vocalists in the band, or does anybody from the guys perform?
So yeah, a buddy of mine. Well, back in the, you know, when we used to play a long time ago, he would sing, but he's actually going through some medical stuff. So that's at the moment, we've got a drummer, a guitar player, and a bass player, but we're looking for a singer.
Were you singing something that was sort of self-made, like made by you, or did you make at that point mostly covers?
It was mostly our stuff. And then we did 2 or 3 covers.
Oh, nice. Covers with the Peppers, any of them perhaps?
Peppers, and then Cream, Sunshine of Your Love.
Okay.
Like
and what Peppers songs did you cover?
Mostly stuff from Blood Sugar Sex.
Really?
Yeah. Funky Monk, not Funky Monk. Sorry, If You Have to Ask.
Right. Such a nice one. You know, I really love the story behind the production of Blood Sugar Sex Magic. How reportedly the house was haunted, and how Chet just straight up refused to live there.
Have you ever seen the Funky Monk?
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah. That was, I mean, just renting this huge mansion to record the album, and I would just imagine the atmosphere, you know. And Chet was like on the first day, nah, I'm good, right? He just rolled on his bike away.
Well, Jimi Hendrix recorded there too.
Oh yeah, interesting. Yeah. So which one's your favorite of that record?
My favorite track on Blood Sugar?
Yeah.
Probably Apache Rose Peacock.
Oh, and again, a rare one. Really rare
that's
one.
been my... Oh, I love that song. That's probably been my favorite since from that album forever. Really? Yeah.
Would you say it's your favorite ever, on that record?
See, now that's hard. Yeah. I've thought about that. Like if I had to pick one song, but... I don't know. Like it's hard to pick one. You know what I mean? There's so many good ones.
Impossible.
I think it's impossible. I might maybe pick 5. But even
let's start on an opposite note. Would you pick like your top 3 list? I don't want to say least favorite, but those that you least appreciate of all the records. That least
throw away your television.
That that could cause some controversy among fans.
Yeah.
It's usually.
I think it's really cool when they do it live. But when I'm like, it's one I skip usually, and I don't dislike it. I'll sing it, but I just Sometimes I'm just not in the mood for it.
Do you tend not to appreciate the first part of the song, or more towards the end of the song when there's this distortion?
No, I like the opening bass part. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just I don't like the lyrics. I guess that's what it is. Maybe that's
yeah. Anthony was kind of a bit lame with that one, right? Just throw away your television. Come on.
Yeah.
What's the problem with the TV, right?
Yeah, I know. It's a repeat, right? So I get maybe that one. There's a couple songs on the I'm With You B-sides that I didn't care for. On there.
And what about B-sides of The Getaway? Have you listened to that stuff? That fairly recent.
Kaylee.
Outer Space.
Yeah, I like that song. Yeah, I don't mind that song. Kaylee, I like.
Yeah, Kaylee or Outer Space.
That's the only two I've heard from them. Yeah,
I think that's it.
Yeah. I really was hoping we get more B-sides from these.
Do you think they exist?
I don't know. Because I feel like, well, there's got to at least be one. Because that Comedy Store song that's about Dave Chappelle that he like.
Oh, wait, did they record it back with Josh?
That was with John.
No, and do you think we have something back from The Getaway?
You know, I do, because from what I think I remember reading, they were recording an album with him whenever they decided.
Wasn't there some kind of a rumor somewhere on Reddit that some lucky bastard does have it and he bought it single unit of a collection or something and he owns it somewhere?
I hope not, because I'm assuming we'll never hear it.
Yeah, that motherfucker got to drop it if he has it, you know?
Yeah, no shit. I think there's another John. There's another Josh album for sure somewhere.
Really?
I hope they end up someday releasing all this stuff.
Wow, the way how you phrase it, there's another Josh album. Is that what you said? There's another Josh album out there?
I think so.
That sounds beautifully mysterious, you know?
Yeah, I think it was right, because they were recording it. And then, you know, they got John back, so I think they just scrapped it.
Wow. So the chances of John doing something that was recorded with Josh is totally zero, you think?
Probably.
Yeah, that's pity. Which song would you most like to hear John perform that was recorded with Josh?
Let's see. It would have to be from I'm With You. So probably, I'd like to hear him do Monarchy of Roses.
Yeah.
Because I think the guitar would be really good at the end.
I'm not even embarrassed of looking at Spotify because I don't want to miss on any song, so I'm just going to open the Spotify real quick to see.
No, nigga, ready.
Yeah. So Monarchy, you think, is your favorite? That was a single, wasn't it? Right?
I think it was, at one time, because I feel like they did a video for it.
Yeah. You know what? From the less popular spectrum of that album, I love Meet Me at the Corner. It was performed a couple of times. Right.
I like that song too.
Yeah.
Oh, Annie Wants a Baby. I don't like that one. That's one
really?
I didn't care for.
You don't?
That's one of my throw away your television ones.
For sure. I was just going to say it. It's pretty identical to Throw Away. Yeah. Pretty identical.
So that, you know, like I said, I don't hate it, and I can sing the words to it, but there's so many good songs on that album. Brendan's Death song is great.
Yeah, I think John would have done a great job performing Brendan Death song, right?
Yeah, fantastic record. I really do like that song or that album. And I feel like they could have had a really good album with The Getaway if they would have kept Rick Rubin.
Yeah. What do you think would have been different had Rick been in?
I think it would have been more. See, I feel like Danger Mouse probably tried to take them more, and I get it. He was trying to push them into more like what's more popular now. Like more like dance beats and drum.
I mean, obviously, a guy with such a nickname, what do you expect from him? A guy with a Mickey Mouse nickname?
He did what he was supposed to, I guess. But I just think with Rick, he just I think they just all collectively mesh well together, and he knows what they need.
So has anybody of the band or somebody outside ever spoken on why Rick was not involved with that record?
It was Josh's decision.
Really?
He felt like with I'm With You, he didn't get enough input. Like Rick didn't listen to him enough. Wow. Is what I read. And so he wanted to try a new producer for the Getaway.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah, that makes me think a little bit. Now, what do you think about the way how guys parted with Josh? That felt like
kind of dirty. A little. From what I saw, I guess they let him go, and then before he even got home, it had already announced that John was their guitar player.
Wow.
So I think it was kind of, I hate that for him. He seems like a really good guy. But I think it was kind of a little dirty. I think it was a little dirty.
Do you mess with his Dot Hacker stuff?
I haven't.
Yeah, really?
Like
you haven't listened? Yes, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah, you got to.
Yeah, I mean, I've listened to a lot of stuff that he's done, but I haven't gotten that one yet. So
it's pretty similar to some of early Common album with John. What was that thing where Josh was on the cover and he was sort of buried underground or something like that on the cover?
The Sphere in the Heart of Silence?
Yeah, something like that. So it's Dot Hacker is pretty similar to that one, you know.
Okay.
And what about Ataxia? Remember back in 05? Do you like Ataxia stuff?
Yeah, it was not bad. Like, and the thing is, I had listened to the first one, and then I didn't even realize it was the second one until after it had already come out, and I was like, so I'd picked that one up too.
So you literally witnessed it, right, when it was releasing, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And those other albums, like The Will to Death and DCEP and all, he released all 6 of those in 6 months, like one every month for 6 months in a row.
Crazy.
Yeah.
How did people, I mean, I'm sorry for asking a question, like back in the day, like you really, you know, but how did people get the news on the album back in those days? Because I was freaking little, I couldn't read probably at that time.
Rolling Stone magazine.
Really?
We get magazines that would tell you stuff's coming out, but like I said, around that time, 2008, when I was like 18, 19, the internet was starting to really catch on. So you could it was very slow, but you could see stuff online too. So I would always go to their websites and stuff. But yeah, it was mostly finding out
6
on
Frusciante's
TV
album in 6 months, right? That sounds too good to be true now, right?
6 albums in 6 months, yeah.
And what albums? I like that one from 2009. What was it? Enclosure?
Empyrean?
Empyrean.
Oh, Enclosure.
And Enclosure came out
Empyrean's
later.
the last guitar one.
And Enclosure was what, like 2014 or something like that?
Right, yeah, and that's techno or electric or whatever.
I think that was like first sign of John sort of transitioning.
Right,
kinda.
yep.
Empyrean is so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I like Empyrean too. It's good. Curtains, all of them, man, they're all so good. Like, and they're each so different. I think it just really makes
Do you know, I've asked that question before, do you know Anne by Frusciante? Anne,
Yeah.
do you know the song Anne? Yeah, I really love that one.
Yeah. And
Lever Pulled. You see, my all-time favorite by Frusciante is probably Lever Pulled. You know that one?
Yeah, Curtains. I love that album.
Oh, that's
such a
Curtains.
good album.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, there's nothing on that album, just guitar, what would that be? Some kind of, what else is on that album? The guitar, and how do you call it? Some effects?
Ascension is on there. The Past Recedes, that's the first track on there. And he actually did a video for that song. Such a good song. Yeah. That was like an acoustic album. That was supposed to be like more of an acoustic album,
Yeah. The Peppers do not really go big on acoustic gigs anymore. They did
no.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple or heard, watched a couple, heard a couple. But yeah, usually it's like 3 or 4 songs.
Remember back when Josh was in, they gave some performance at the music conservatory or something like that when they performed, when Josh was it was back when he broke his leg or something.
The Silver Lake Conservatory.
Yeah, that's it. So what's that thing? Is it something ran by Flea? Is it sponsored by them?
He started. It's a school he started.
That's beautiful.
For kids. And so each year they do like a huge concert and he comes and plays with them.
Yeah, that's nice. That's beautiful for them. Well, listen, it's been a lovely conversation. I don't mean to stretch your time anymore. I think
thank you for having me on, man.
Lots of
I'll talk Peppers anytime.
Oh yeah, what can be better? Seriously, what can be better? And I will never be tired of wondering how some people just don't appreciate it and they think that I'm promoting my stuff. Like, what am I promoting? A channel with 23 subscribers?
You're growing, man. You're growing.
Yeah, I just love it. Even if this thing doesn't ever pop, I'm okay with having conversation like that. But you probably do have a lot of people in your environment who share the same music taste with you.
Yeah, but as far as like my love of the Peppers, I got one other buddy of mine.
Yeah, who's as crazy as you are for the Peppers, right? Oh, that's enough, man. That's a privilege.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, if you ever want to have a group of us on here, I'm happy to come.
Well, I feel a little bit in minority because at some point you guys definitely start playing. That's what happens when two guys into Peppers, and I will not contribute. Right. I will only spoil with my voice, right? That's what I can do.
Well, I'm talking about anybody else that you've talked to. Like if you ever want to do a group thing.
Yeah. Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice. Isn't that what guys do with this Discord shit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Discord,
man, I've never been on Discord. Never have in my life.
I don't know a lot about that.
For sure. Yeah, well, it's growing,
thanks for having me on, man.
Reddit community is really friendly in terms of response, and it's amazing.
They really are. Everybody seems really nice to each other so far.
Sure.
Nobody craps on each other, I guess.
I'm dropping this bad boy in, let me think, probably like in 2 days. So I'm going to send you the link right after it's done. And it's been a pleasure for you. Thanks a lot. I'm sorry I stretched the time a little bit, but hopefully it's not the last time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you too. See ya. Goodbye. See ya.